Hey, this is Edem with Global Abundance LLC back with another video. Welcome to the channel if you're new. If you're already part of the family, thanks for stopping by and checking back in. On this channel, we talk all things real estate, residential, and commercial, and a little bit of financial literacy and personal development content sprinkled in on the top. So, uh, welcome. We also have a free VIP group where we share what's working, what's not working, learn and grow as a community together, answer questions, and just support each other in our various lanes of real estate investing. So if you'd like to join that, go ahead and click the link below in the description. It's free, uh, and we love to have you there. So today's video is about things that can make your house hard to sell. Okay, maybe you're in a position right now where you are considering selling your house, or maybe you are, you know, almost at the end of a listing because you listed your property months ago, and for whatever reason it's not selling, and it might expire, and it's just not what you expected, and you need to know what's going on. So this video is basically kind of digging into some of the things that could, make it hard for your house to sell. All right. Selling isn't, always an easy process, and it's a big decision. The challenges of, selling the house can be, you know, even more stressful. Okay. Uh, there's a bunch of factors to consider, like the current state of the local real estate market, the condition of your property, and competition from other sellers. Additionally, finding a trustworthy real estate agent and dealing with endless paperwork and waiting for the right buyer can make the process even more stressful. Okay, so I also have videos on uh, questions that you're going to want to ask a real estate agent if you are working with or considering working with an agent. And even if you're already with an agent right now, you know what I mean? Maybe you can go back and ask some of these questions, because, these are some things that you're going to want the agent to answer to give you the best uh, idea and the best uh, position to actually sell, with that real estate agent, because every real estate agent, just like every cash buyer and investor, isn't cut the same. So you need to know who you're actually doing business with. So, um, let's kind of dig a little deeper into some of these things that will make your house hard to sell. So one of the things that could be like an Achilles heel, or just overall making your property hard to sell, is high property taxes. High property taxes can be a real headache for, you know, homeowners that are looking to sell their property. Maybe you're, one of the individuals that are experiencing this right now. Potential buyers may be scared off, by the prospect of having to pay super high taxes every year. So, that can make it pretty hard to attract offers. Okay. Property taxes are calculated based on the assessed value of your home. So if your house is valued at a high amount, your property taxes are going to be high as well. And this could be a major turnoff for potential buyers who are, already hesitant about making such a large investment. So that's something that, you want to keep in mind there as you are getting ready to sell your house, or maybe you're trying to figure out, well, why isn't this property moving the way I thought it was going to move? So some of the things that you want to be focused on. So another thing is declining real estate market, right? Another factor that can make it pretty difficult to sell your house is a declining real estate market. Maybe, at a time your local market was hot, and blazing hot, and properties were flying off the shelf. But now, it's in a downturn, and every market has its cycles. There's not one market that I can personally think of that constantly goes up and has never ever had any drop off. And there's not a market where I can think of that's always been down in the dumps and never actually, rose up at any time. So maybe you're just in a down cycle where your property is located, and you're going to want to really keep that in mind. If the local market isn't doing that well, it's going to take longer to sell your house. All right, it's just the truth. Um, you may have to lower your asking price as a result, just to get the property pushed through, because of the fact that there's a lot of competition, and the market itself isn't really moving in a fast pace. Um, Another thing that can make your house hard to sell is just a limited buyer pool. If your house is located, say, in a specific area of town, or has unique features that may not appeal to everybody, that can make it difficult to find a buyer. So, keep that in mind as well. Another thing is, outdated design elements. So if your house has outdated design elements like old wallpaper, or shag carpeting, that type of stuff can be difficult to sell. Now, understood, some people like that, that nostalgic kind of feel and look, but for the most part, people aren't really looking for that as a whole. So those type of design elements that were maybe hot back in the 70s and 60s and early 80s isn't hot right now, right? So we all go through evolution, and move through to different things that get us going. And maybe shag carpeting, or the remember grandma's house with the popcorn ceiling. Like, maybe that's not what's grabbing the buyer's attention, right? Which means that they would, even if they went in and saw that, they'd be, first thing they're thinking is, okay, like, how much is that going to cost me to replace that? Because I don't want that. So, based on how much it may cost them, that also could be, turning off a potential buyer. Another thing that could be turning off buyers and making it hard for you to sell is structural issues. Foundation problems, you know, leaky roof, siding falling off, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, um, that could be a problem, because, we have to be on solid ground, right? We got to be in a solid foundation. If there's foundation issues, that's a extreme cost for a new buyer. Um, and again, if we're talking about a cash buyer, we're talking about a, fix and flip investor, um, some of these things may be okay, because they're going to buy as is and come in and do what they need to do to get it ready for, a tenant, or to flip and resell. But if we're talking about somebody who's looking for a home to live in, and you have a lot of these issues, like, really shooting yourself in the foot, because it's going to be very difficult to find a buyer that wants to have to put up with all that, especially if that's their first home. You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to walk into a nightmare, right? Um, Another thing that could make your property hard to sell is just the location. I kind of briefly talked about this earlier. Different markets, every market has a cycle, but your location might be what's actually making it difficult to sell, which is also pulling down the amount of potential buyers that that are in the area. For example, let's say you have a vacant piece of land and it's landlocked, which means that there's no easement, there's no physical or legal access to the property. So, it may be in a beautiful part of the county or state or an area, but if you can't access it, that's going to make it difficult for, the average buyer to come along and say, wow, I really want that, because, well, how am I actually going to access my property? There's like 5 properties on each side that's blocking access to my property. I've got to walk through everybody else's stuff or get permission to go through everybody else's property to get to my property. So, keep that in mind. That location can also make your house difficult to sell. Uh, or, maybe in a less desirable area. You know what I mean? Um, that's just what it is. Another thing is just limited marketing exposure. Maybe you're not really putting your property out there enough to where enough eyeballs can actually see your property. Okay, so uh, you're going to want to think about how you are presenting your property, and the marketing that you're doing, because the more people that see your property, the more chances you have, obviously, to sell your property. If nobody knows that your property is there, and it could be the best property on the block, but if nobody knows it's actually available for sale, um, well, it's going to be kind of hard to sell, right? So marketing is important. And just because you have it on MLS doesn't mean that, it's being marketed in its highest and best fashion. Again, that comes back to the real estate agent that you're working with. Another thing that makes it hard to sell is competition. If there's a lot of other houses for sale in your area, it can get difficult to sell your house, especially, if your house isn't like the marquee standout type of property, you know what I mean, amongst all the other comparable properties in your area. So keep that in mind as well. Um, Another thing that can make it hard to sell is, financial issues that, you may be facing. If you're behind on a mortgage, uh, and you're facing foreclosure, that could be a problem when you are going to try to sell your house, get out of foreclosure or avoid foreclosure, and get a fresh start. And one that is extremely important, and I've done other videos about this, is your emotional attachment to the house. Okay. If you're emotionally attached to the house, it's going to get difficult to sell. Why? Because, you have fond memories in the house. Maybe you grew up in the house. You know, you've had a lot of unforgettable experiences in the home, and that makes it hard to detach yourself from it. And worse off, you end up adding your emotional attachment to the price of the house, assuming that, well, the next person should feel just as emotionally attached as I do to this house. And that is absolutely false. And I've done videos about this, and I really want you to understand here that that is the wrong way to go. So maybe everything else is not affecting you, but this one thing is, and that's your emotional attachment to the house. Try your best to just remove your emotion from the sale of your home, okay? Because again, let's face it, the new potential buyer didn't, have their first barbecue like you did at the house. They didn't, uh, 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 you know, learn to walk like you did because you grew up in the house. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't take their first step there. They didn't, you know, have all these unforgettable memories like you did at the house. So just keep that in mind, and do your best to not factor that into the price that you're asking, right? Because that could literally be what's turning people off. Is like, why is this house priced like this, compared to everything else, and it's really your emotional attachment to it. And if you were to lower that price, there goes your property, right? It's gone, and you can move on with your life. So these are just some things I wanted to talk about to if you're currently going through some of these things, or you're getting ready to sell your home, it's something to consider. So again, I don't want this video to go too long, but I kind of just wanted to just kind of do a quick overview of some of these things. So, if you found value, go ahead and hit that like button, share, subscribe, get it out to other people that you may know that are getting ready to sell their home, or have been in the process of selling their home already, and it's just not moving, and they're wondering, well, why? Maybe this can lend some insight to their situation. So jump in the comments below as well. Let me know about your experience. Let's have a conversation. Maybe you're going through this right now, or maybe you're considering it, or maybe you have some questions. Go ahead and jump in the comments below. Let's talk about it. And until next time, happy investing. And I'll see you later.